Hello, YouTubers and subscribers and friends. Phoenix. Slow rolling. Alright, folks, part 2 of the video I just posted a little bit ago. I'll probably post this tonight or this afternoon, I'm not sure. Today is March 1st, 2026. YouTubers, subscribers, and friends alike, it's Grant Travels coming at you from Goodyear, Arizona. I just left out there by Gold Canyon, Arizona, where those Nosy Karen and Kevin's were at last night, bothering me. And then this morning, right after I made the last video, as I'm doing my pre-trip and then, getting ready to go, I pull out a little bit in the middle to check the truck out, in the middle of that approach where I was at, instead of pulled up on the side of the fence where I was at in the video. Get back in, get all seatbelted in to go, and then those 3 side-by-sides, or ATVs, whatever you want to call them, went in circles around me on purpose to throw rocks at the truck, because they know I'm delivering it, and it's pretty obvious that it's a new truck that is being delivered. And he had his buddies and him go out there and do that this morning, because I wouldn't leave last night, I guess, or something, but they have not met the rock-throwing 9000 that I drive. I hate to say it, but with or without mud flaps, this truck right here, if you put your left foot on the brake and your right foot on the gas, it will throw rocks like you wouldn't believe. And I just let it rain. Two can play at that game. And they were in unprotected side by sides, and it was just beautiful to watch. I wish I could have had it on dash cam. I need to get some kind of a 360 dash cam or something, or like a drone to follow me around or something. That'd be just great if I could figure out how to do that all the time, so it was on all the time and I could get the camera evidence of it. But I only did it a little bit, because this truck will only let you do gas and brake at the same time for a little bit, and then it starts throwing all sorts of signs down there, and acting up and blah blah blah, because it's unsafe to do that, with the camera and blah blah blah. So it'll only let you do it a little bit, but it was enough to throw rocks. And then it threw rocks at the truck itself, pelted the back of the truck, which I haven't looked at yet. I'm gonna get out and look at in a minute. But yeah, switch it around. That happened last night too, and when I was just thinking of taking the board off myself, I went underneath an underpass by Globe, Arizona, and the underpass part, or the overpass thing for the railroad, goes over and the cars go under. It must have had like standing water down there, and so the pavement isn't like where it's supposed to be, and so there was a good foot drop, and I hit that thing, and it busted the board right in half. So there was no saving it anyway. I had to take it off. And I parked it, I went last night, at night, on purpose, so that I would be less traffic, less in everybody's way. And I got to where I made the video this morning at Gold Canyon, which is just outside of Phoenix, on the east side of Phoenix. And then this all happened this morning, and then I slow rolled at 55 mile an hour in the double lane, until the double lane became 4 or 5 lanes across, on Route 60, which is like basically the heart of Phoenix. The middle of Phoenix that goes between the interstates. And so when the lanes got 4 or 5 lanes deep, on my left side, then I went to 60 or 65, because I figure at that point, if you're dumb enough to still continue following behind me, with all those open lanes to your left that you can go faster in, but you continue to go right behind me with that, I don't, personally, I don't care if I have the mud flaps on or not. If you're right on my edge of my frame right there, whether you have the mud flaps on or not, you get what's coming at you. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket science test to pay attention to situational awareness, selective, natural selection really took course this morning, and there's like 4 people that I taught why they should not be on somebody's bumper. Doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter if it's a car, truck, whatever. Could throw stuff at you if you're that close. And I put on my flashers right there a couple different times, because people were right up on my butt, trying to wait for the next exit or whatever. And I could, I still don't see to this day why people have to get right up on your butt to wait for you to get out of their way so that they can finally take the exit. Even though you get, I get that, you got 2 exit coming up in 2 miles, and you don't want to have to go around them and cut them off and whatever. But if they're going slower than you wish to be going, why ride their butt for the last 2 miles? You're getting off that freeway or whatever in 2 miles anyways. What's the difference? But routinely, I had 4 different people this morning. I was in the far over slow lane, and I'll show you that clip on that video. I rolled in the slow lane because I have no business being in the faster lanes. If I'm, 10 miles under the speed limit or 5 miles under the speed limit, I let them all have it on purpose in the hopes, and then I also drove 5 under or 10 under in the hopes that people wouldn't ride my butt. But if you're going to ride my butt either way, mud flaps or not, bumper wise out, I guess you get what's coming to you. And I think I know for sure one car got some kind of a rock in the windshield or something, because it was on my ass and then backed off big time. And when they do that, they hit something, whether it's a little pebble in the windshield was enough to make them up and go, ooh, maybe I shouldn't be riding that guy's ass. And people can come at me and complain to me all the time, all they want, that I shouldn't be running with mud flaps, and I agree I shouldn't be running without mud flaps on, but mud flaps are not, those mud flaps are not going to save you if you're right on my butt. It doesn't matter if I have the mud flaps on or not. Yeah, this will throw more stuff without mud flaps, but it'll still throw stuff with the mud flaps on there. They just bounce, they hit the pavement and come back up. It's actually almost worse than when you have the mud flaps on, because it'll bounce off the pavement and go right up to windshield width, and take your lights and your windshield out, instead of the rock bouncing back further and might hit the hood of your car and over your car or something without the mud flaps on, give or take. But either way, it's dangerous. But that's the whole point that I'm trying to get to, is don't follow too close. I mean, there's a reason cops give you a citation for following too close. It's up to the driver following behind the vehicle to maintain a proper following distance, and the point being behind that is no matter how fast you're going, you need to be able to fully come to a stop without occupying the same space as the car in front of you. If something were to happen, if I were to slam on my brakes, or whoever's in front of me were to slam on their brakes, say where the street is a decent safe following distance, because you have plenty of time even in a truck pretty much to stop from this distance, give or take. But this very first parking spot right here is not a very good following distance, because I will occupy the same, especially a truck, I will occupy the same space as you do if you slam on your brakes from that point. So I'm just pointing it out. I might upload this video here in a minute. I'll have to look. I'm probably going to upload it later after I wash the windows and get this truck ready to go to deliver it tomorrow in Quartzsite, when I most likely will upload the video after this truck is delivered, or after the point where I'm off the road with the truck, so there's no legal consequences coming to me because they have to catch you doing something on purpose. Technically speaking, I can get a fine for running without the flaps on with DOT, but there's some exceptions like that if I could prove that they broke and stuff like that, and so I took pictures that it broke on me. Nothing much I can do. If they bust in the middle of the board bust, or the flaps come off or whatever, you can run basically to your nearest hardware store or whatever to fix whatever the problem is before you continue on a route, according to DOT rules. So technically speaking, depending on wherever stuff broke down at, which they can't prove that they didn't break down 5 seconds before I pulled, they pulled me over or whatever. And I also had 3 different cops this morning pass right by me. One was on my butt for a little while before he noticed, and then still didn't pull me over for it, so half the time they don't even know what they're looking for anyway. But anyway, I'll get this one delivered. I'll try to be safer with the next one. I don't know. The whole mud flap situation with these trucks is just unreal. Not a whole hell of a lot you can do about it. I'm gonna look into buying a very cheap, small nail gun, if I can find something really small and light and cheap. If you have anything for that, you could send me a link in the comments or something. Or I might buy a very small, I know they make very small automatic screwdrivers, electric screwdrivers. I could buy with a drill bit, and then I'd be able to drill holes in the mud flaps, and then I could zip tie, which is not the greatest thing either, but I could zip tie on top of their staples that they put in, and that would keep the staples from coming out. If they have pressure on the back of the staple, pushing the staple back into the board as the wind is trying to pull the staples out. I could do that, but I'd have to drill holes in the mud flap to get the zip tie to go through, which I could do with a very small electric screwdriver that you just put a drill bit end on, because they fit the same hole. You just make them like a portable little screw. It would just be because you have to just drill through the rubber, not the board. It would just be the thin part of the rubber, what we call it, Rainforest City Day mud flap of the rubber mud flap. They have little kind of somewhat in grooves. They're not really holes, but they're like grooves where you're supposed to punch your stuff through there and hook on the mud flaps onto something. And on the trucks, unlike the bigger trucks, the semis with the sleepers and all that, that's what those mud flaps are designed for, the bobtails. They're designed where you put the screw and a bolt through that little groove onto a permanent metal bar, which is what these things should have too, in my opinion. And they should just recycle them or whatever, but that's what they're designed for on the mud flaps. And then I could use that little groove where it's only half as much rubber, poke through there with a teeny tiny little electric screwdriver with a drill bit, and then that would give me enough of a hole. Just, I don't need a wide enough hole for the small plastic zip tie to go through. And then I could zip tie over top of those staples, and that would hold everything together because it would force the staple to stay in the board temporarily enough to get me to where I needed to go, of fighting the wind. Because the back of the zip tie that's on the board would hold the staple from coming out. It would be a fast, easy solution, and it would be a light solution with just an electric screwdriver, which I might go that route, depending, but then you got to keep that charged. And then some TSAs don't like the electric screwdriver, that then say you have to check it. The others don't care, and they say you can take it on the plane with you. It just becomes a pain in the butt on that side of the transporting, because then I have to do a check bag. And if I'm doing a check bag, I might as well just bring all my stuff and my gun and everything with me if I have to do a check bag anyway, because for the gun you're required to take a check bag. But if they're going to make it required to take a check bag for the electric screwdriver, or have to buy a new electric screwdriver every single time I do this, that's the other thing I could do. They're only like 12 bucks or 20 bucks or whatever. Could do that as a tax write-off, 20 bucks a run if I had to. And donate electric screwdrivers to TSA all over the place. Or something, I don't know, I haven't figured out. If I was just doing this like a 9-to-5 job and was not having to fly back or train back or bus back or whatever, then I just carry the tools with me, because you're just with the truck wherever you're going, like if I was expediting and stuff like that. If this was instead a like full box truck that you expedite in, that I'm just living in and expediting in, then yeah, I'd have tools on me all the time, because you might as well just carry them with you. It's no big deal. But since I'm living out of a bag outside of delivering the trucks, it becomes its own extra problem. But anyway, I'm ranting on. I'm starting to sweat to death in here. I'm gonna go eat breakfast, and I'll catch you on the flip. I'll probably make another clip in Quartzsite after I wash the windshield. This evening, just before dark, and then I'm gonna wait till after dark to run past Quartzsite, because there's the last Arizona port of entry or exit, or whatever the hell they call it, wait station thing, is sometimes open and not. Usually not on a Sunday, and then usually not on a Sunday night after dark. And so I want to get past that point, and then I will upload this video when everything's all said and done, and there's nothing anybody legally can do about it, so to speak. I mean, technically I could get in trouble for admitting that I ran with it or whatever, but I'd fight that in court, because what can I do on this side of the road? Have to pack a whole bunch of tools with me to fix stuff that they should have had fixed coming from the manufacturer. And like I say, the best thing I can think of to do would be an electric screwdriver, and then jury rig mud flap, or the zip ties on the mud flaps. Maybe that would hold. I don't know how well it would hold or not. Or start taking the Rado trucks so I don't have this problem. Like and subscribe, leave a comment. I'll catch you in a flip. Peace. Well, I think I lucked out. Not seeing any real rock damage. A little bit of wear and tear damage from where the mud flaps were. But I'm just doing a pre-trip again as I'm leaving McDonald's. Thought I'd add it to the clip if I found anything really did it up. I mean, I heard it go ding, 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 ding from my own truck and from them throwing rocks at me and stuff, but so far looking like the little pebbles didn't do anything to mine anyway. Looking like I looked out. I don't know about the windshield for sure, because I couldn't find a gas station big enough to have the long squeegee handles, truck squeegees, to wash the windshield. So I have to wait till Love's truck stop up in Quartzsite, because I know they got it. So I'm just gonna wait till they go there, because I gotta fill up anyway. To deliver it, they want 5 gallons, I think it was, fuel in there, which ends up being like 80 bucks or something. I can't remember, 20 gallons, I can't remember, but it's like $80 worth of fuel from Quartzsite, because these cabs might sit out in Ehrenberg, Arizona for a while, before and after getting the box on at the factory maybe, or something. That's why they want fresh fuel. Anyhow, one more little thing to point out. Why is it every time a truck, and I'm just driving the box truck, but why is it every single time someone in a truck puts the blinker on to advertise that they would like to go left or right, the car in the lane behind them, which did have space for them to allow over, all of a sudden speeds up? I mean, I get the point. They don't want to get stuck behind the truck or the semi or the box truck or whatever. I understand it, but it's so annoying. Just in the 9-mile trip from Goodyear to Buckeye, 9 miles, I put on the blinker like 5 times, I think. And 3 of those times, the person behind me, way back in the lane, decided to gun it, and that once they saw my blinker go on. You can't be a bit courteous, have some courtesy for your fellow driver, especially ones in the semis, and let them over. Semis have it 10 times harder than I do, and I'm just slightly longer than your average car, but there are spots where we can't get into, where a car can fly right into like nothing. You know, in terms of these like tight 90-degree turns off of these designer streets and stuff like that, where if we don't get over in time, we're just screwed. For example, I just had to take the next block down, the next light down, because I put my blinker on in time to merge over and safely do so. I gave plenty of warning ahead of time that I'd like to get over to the left. But what do? They just gunned it. And they're gunning it, and on top of their gunning it, they stayed in that lane and screwed me out of being able to go left. Don't know if that was done on purpose, just to be an a-hole or what. But a person in a car would have no problems. You just slam on your brakes a little bit or gun it or whatever, and either get ahead of them or behind them and squeeze right in. No problems whatsoever, because you got like 6-foot long device you're driving instead of a 10-foot long, or like the semi, the combination tractor trailer is 70-foot long, 55 for the trailer, and the difference on the tractor. And we have to squeeze into spaces that allow us that space. This one is, I don't know, 15, something like that, 15-ish feet long. Oh, I literally just parked here, and that dude, I can get out. I left myself enough room to get out, I think. But I hate that. It's like that's the other thing. Pull into a sideways parking spot like this on purpose to try to allow yourself enough room out. I think I got enough. I didn't. Ooh, I'm gonna get close. I should have left me a full parking space in front, which I think I barely have. Just in case they do that. Because if other people don't think of that, either they park right next to you and go like, oh well, that guy's just shit out of luck if he tries to get out. Excuse my French, but I mean, it doesn't take some situational awareness. In this whole video, this is about being aware of your situation or your surroundings, of other people that share the roadway with you, that share the parking spots with you. That guy literally just parked there in the 5 seconds it took me to start the video and play it. He was not there a minute ago and has no idea that I'm going to have to wiggle out of this thing without hitting his truck or drive over to the curb to do it, which that's my fault right there. I should not have pulled all the way up to the parking space. I should have taken this parking space back so that it would make them think twice about parking right behind me. And likely it's an employee or the manager of that hotel or something that always parks there, so they don't think of it. But that is what they train us in their safety videos, to try to park on purpose so that you can get out at least 2 different ways. You know, you can back up if you can't go out straight and whatnot, because these long vehicles, these and RVs and stuff like that, are harder to position. So always plan your exit, which I boo-booed on that a little, I noticed. But anyway, the original part of this video was, you know, when we signal left or right, especially tractor trailers, they have a 70-foot long vehicle that they have to make space for, so they've got to have 90 degrees or 90 feet worth, give or take, so they have a little bit on either end of it to fit into the space safely, and then they got to have the truck space ahead of them to be able to safely stop if they get, you know, into the lane that's occupied by like a semi in front of them or whatever. You know, people need to take that into account when they speed up and cut that guy off, because that's what just happened to me there. They not only sped up so that I couldn't get over, but then they stayed there so that I really couldn't get over and couldn't go to the left. I had to go down a block and back up, and it just made me think to make this video about that too, because people don't think about the fact that I can't squeeze in there like a car does. I mean, I could block all, impede traffic and go all the way to nothing, to a stop, and then get over. If I absolutely had to make that turn, I could make myself do it, but it would be dangerous as hell, because they don't think about the fact that that right there, if somebody's not paying attention and they're right behind me, that's a death sentence right there. That truck frame it will go right through your engine and send your engine right into your cab with the frame and kill you if you ain't paying attention behind me. That's why we, as the truck drivers that are driving these incomplete chassis, have to pay attention to that, because other people don't. If I wanted to, not saying I would or I could or get mad enough to do it, but if I wanted to, I know for a fact I could put that exhaust brake on and I could slam on my regular pedal brake. The combination of those two will bring this truck to almost a complete stop in space. And can you imagine what that would do with that truck frame going right up somebody's windshield? I mean, all this to say, don't mess with truck drivers, especially equipment operators like myself, because we know how to operate this stuff. We've driven it enough. We know how to squeeze it into spots if we have to. And we know how to slam on our brakes and make you wish you hadn't done that. And I haven't never done that, but I'm just saying I know exactly how to do it if I ever wanted to. So think about that before you approach a driver, especially a bigger equipment driver, even bigger than this, semi and tractor trailer. If they wanted to, they could pass you on purpose and then let their trailer drift over, especially if they're only the owner operator of the tractor and they're just leasing on to whatever trailer company they're hauling that trailer for. They don't care about that trailer. They care more about taking you off in the ditch if they wanted to. Potentially screwing your vehicle up, screwing your life up, and injuring or killing you. If they really wanted to, they could do some real damage with just you and dragging the trailer without even affecting their tractor. So think about that the next time you cut the semi off. Just things to note. And then on top of that, not myself, I don't deliver the goods, except for the truck to the box, whatever, and then to put the box on it. I don't deliver it, actually, personal goods like other truck drivers do. But those people are delivering your groceries. They're the reason that you can get food at the supermarket. They're the reason you can buy clothes at Walmart, etc. So give the truck driver next to you some grace. Like and subscribe, leave comments, to catch you in the flip. Peace. Quartzsite, Arizona. 6 miles out, and then I have 11 miles after I fill and wash the windows. Peace. Quartzsite, Arizona. Loves. Just had a guy in a Toyota the last 3 miles follow me all 3 miles, and then come up behind me all mad as hell because I put rocks in his windshield or something when I told him one thing. Can I ask you a question? And he goes, what? With all this steaming around mad stuff, ranting on, he goes, what? And I said, do I control your gas pedal? Do I control your blinkers? Do I control the way you drive? No. There was 3 or 4 cars past both of us. You could have gotten that line and passed anytime you wanted to, but nope, you chose to follow me all 3 miles. That has nothing to do with me. It doesn't matter who it was on the road. You know, and this is like an 80-year-old guy. I had to teach him how to drive. Got mad and left because he knew I told the truth on that deal. Now I'm doing my job and protecting these trucks who have to make the wide turn into the fuel island, because some truck drivers, some steering wheel holders, so to speak, would climb right up in there and not care about the trailer swing of somebody else. So, just a second there, I thought the car was going to come in here, but that car right there was going to come in here, but they're not. They're just turning around. Oh, the fuel island for the cars are just as full, so Loves is making bank today. Mostly I'm cleaning the windshield off. Might have to put a teeny tiny little bit of fuel in, because it's supposed to be at half, and I got 11 miles still to go, so probably like, I don't know, 3 or 4 more gallons or something like that, just to have it go above half, so by the time I get there it's half. Mostly I'm here to clean the windshield off, and I'm waiting, looks like 1, 2, 3 units back. Seems like a long line, but as soon as 3 of those semis pull up on the fuel island, everybody will move forward. Then we'll get in, I think. I might skip the fuel line if that one section's open and just do the windows for now and come back and fuel later. maybe we'll have to get up there, but I still need the long handle truck thing. And the Pilots Flying J have a RV section over there on that side that would have it, but the Loves, as far as I know, doesn't. Like half of them do, some don't. Have a long handle squeegee, and I need the long handle because I've tried the short handle ones and they only go this far and that far, and that's it. And I can't even get to where the camera is, and the camera's the most important part because you gotta keep the camera clear, or it gets mad at you and throws all sorts of stupid signals like it can't keep the cruise on anymore and all this other crap. You don't have the camera cleared, so that's the most important part. Plus, I gotta wash the whole entire windshield off anyway, so they can inspect it for rock chips and yada at the delivery, because that's about the main thing they look for on these units when we deliver them. That and either rock dents from the front or back, like I showed you on the pre-trip earlier in the clip. But yeah, I had another guy. Oh, and then before, the Toyota guy, the old man, 80-year-old man in the Toyota, followed me 3 miles into Quartzsite, and then he followed me through Quartzsite. I decided to take the beginning exit and go through the town of Quartzsite and back to Loves where I'm at, and he followed me all the way through it, just so he can have his last say, or his word, until I reminded him that he's the one driving his vehicle and he can decide how close or how far away people get. But anyway, and then before that happened, I had an Arizona trooper come up to me. If you've driven between Phoenix and Quartzsite, you'll know the road I'm talking about that has all sorts of mess-ups. Somebody's up there honking impatient. That has all sorts of divots in the road between Quartzsite, Arizona and Quartzsite in that one spot. And I hit that one spot, and I'm just going all, not the truck itself, but the truck is jiggling all over the place, and the back axle's going to the, and the trooper's right behind me, and I thought, I have two choices here. I could slow down and make it look better, technically, but then you'll probably pull me over. Or I can, fly right through it and act like I'm dumb and naive. And so I chose that route and drove through it at like 60, whatever. The truck can handle it. It's just the mud flaps that wouldn't be able to handle it and would break off if I had them. I don't have them. I went all over the place, and of course the trooper was coming next to me after that bad stretch of road, and then he flipped his lights and his siren and waved at me like, yeah, I shouldn't be doing that or something, but didn't stop me or nothing. Just kind of wanted me to know that he knew that I didn't have flaps on. But then I pretty much pointed at the road, and we both knew that flaps wouldn't have made a difference on that road. They would have just broke off right there anyway. So I, technically speaking, got out of that deal from the Arizona roads. I mean, fixing roads on almost, there's sections of Interstate 10 through Arizona right there at the state line after you get into Arizona from just before Tucson and the hills. And then there's another bad section right here between Phoenix and Quartzsite. And I think that section Arizona just doesn't care about because it's traffic that's leaving Arizona, so that they don't care. The other side coming into Arizona is all nice and new, and that's done on purpose to try to get people to stay there and stop and blah blah blah, in their state. But leaving, they don't care. They'd rather have you break your stuff on your vehicle, get stuck in Arizona, and have to fix stuff, and so that they get the money from it. Be my guess. I'm waiting for one of the front two. I might go around the other side here, depending, just to see how impatient I want to get. This RV don't want to pull up at all. He's like, nope. See, this is what you do right here if you want to take any of those spots. You block everybody else from being able to take a spot, because if you pulled all the way up, then you'd have to try it. Well, you can't really back up with a car. That's the other reason he's parked like that. But that's how you do it if you want to try and sneak into any spot that opens. You could take whatever spot opens first, that kind of deal. But he's not really set up for it. He should have stayed back a little further. But he wants to try to get one of these 3 spots in front. Anyhow, I better get to looking. What's that coming up behind me? Like and subscribe, leave comments, keep your channel flip, peace.